Hi guys, I'm More, and today, boy oh boy, I am so nervous about this video because in this video, I am going to be giving out my unpopular opinion about the Kardashians, and I feel like this just might be my most unpopular opinion. Whenever I've brought this up, I feel like nobody really agrees with me, but I was like, you know what, this is how I feel. I want to have a conversation on this topic. I want to have a conversation with everyone here on my channel and see how you guys feel about it, and I just want this to be a healthy discussion, so please don't come for me if you disagree with me. Everybody sees things differently, and that's okay. And I feel like definitely the Kardashians, out of all things, is not something where, we should get like really upset about because it's just not that deep. And I think that's kind of why sometimes I really enjoy following this family, because it's just a way for me to disconnect of like all the things that happen in the world. Because sometimes I'm like reading the news and then like something related to whatever Kardashian pops up, I'm like, okay, this is like so much better for me to read, because it's just really something that's just kind of like, it's not that important, but at the same time it entertains me and it just gives me something else to think about other than like the many problems that are happening in the world. And yes, I could see how that could be like irresponsible or bad, but I mean, we all do it. We don't all want to be thinking about like the really heavy and really serious stuff that happens all the time. So yeah, that for me is how I see them. It's kind of like an escape from reality, kind of like a video game is for me as well, or like a reality show that, well, I guess they are a reality show. I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, it's definitely an unpopular opinion, so I hope you guys are not too mean to me about this, but I just wanted to, talk about it. So last week, Kim Kardashian, the queen of the Kardashians herself, or I guess that title, they kind of like switch it back and forth between Kris, Kim, and Kylie, I don't know. But Kim, I would say, is pretty much the present queen, given everything that's happening with Kylie. But she went out and made a comment where she was giving advice to women in business. And her advice, I am paraphrasing here because the way she said it, I found it to be kind of aggressive, and it was kind of weird because that's not the way Kim usually talks. But her advice was basically that people should get out there and work because so many people don't want to work nowadays. And when she made that comment, I remember seeing it pretty early on when it came out. I saw it on TikTok and I was just like, oh my gosh, what is she talking about? And then Kourtney was like completely agreeing with Kim, which is kind of weird because there's been whole storylines about them where Kourtney doesn't want to work anymore on their show and Kim is kind of calling her out and saying like she's lazy. But then here is Kourtney saying that people are lazy and they don't want to work. It was very bizarre the moment I saw that, and I was just like, what is happening? Why are they saying this? I found the comment to be incredibly insensitive. I found it to be incredibly tone deaf, especially given everything that's going on right now, given that people can literally work a full-time job and not be able to afford housing, especially with all the prices going up. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but every time I'm at the grocery store, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? I was literally at the Cheesecake Factory the other day, and I love going to the Cheesecake Factory, and they were taking out wok and chips from the menu because avocados are so expensive, and it took so many avocados to make wok and chips that they just couldn't have it on the menu anymore at a price that would be reasonable. That is something that had never happened in my experience, that I had never seen before. And I had a whole conversation with the person that was just helping me, and we were talking about how everything was so expensive. So this is a conversation that's happening on a day-to-day basis. And for Kim Kardashian, someone who's so privileged, someone who obviously has so much money, she's a literal billionaire, to be like, oh, you know what, you just need to get up and work because you're lazy, basically. It seemed like so bizarre to me. And when I saw it on TikTok, because I'm literally on TikTok all the time, and if you guys don't follow me on TikTok, my TikTok is mar.hacks, so definitely go follow me on there because I post literally every single day, and I post hacks, and we usually have a lot of fun on TikTok. But yeah, when I saw that, I was just like, oh my gosh, like I wonder what people will say about this, because a lot of the time when I think something is upsetting, people aren't really upset by it, and when I think something isn't upsetting, people are upset by it. So it's like, I feel like sometimes I just look at things like differently from like a lot of people, because I don't know, maybe it's because I grew up in Venezuela, or like, I don't know, but I feel like this tends to happen to me. I don't know if it happens to any of you guys. But my first question was kind of like, who is Kim talking to? Like, who are all these lazy people that she's talking about? I mean, is she talking about like Rob Kardashian? Because he definitely doesn't work. He hasn't worked and I don't even know how long. But who are all these lazy people? Because people that I know are working. I mean, I don't know what she was referring to being like, oh, people don't want to work. Especially if she was referring to women in business. Like, if you're a woman in business, you are used to working really hard, because being a woman in business is hard. So I was just confused by her statement. And this is coming from me, and honestly, I don't know if I'm a Kardashian fan. I mean, I guess I am. I'm definitely not one of those people who's like, oh, anything the Kardashians do, I'm gonna be be like, oh my gosh, yes, it's perfect. I mean, I will definitely call them out on stuff that I find to be wrong. Like when I bought Kylie Swim and like the quality really wasn't there, I'll make a video and talk about it and tell you guys like, this is bad. Don't give them your money because it's not worth it. But when something's good, like for example, Skims, like I felt like Skims had really good products, I will go ahead and tell you guys, oh my gosh, this is great. Honestly, I've always had kind of like a fascination with them. And I think it's really ironic that I've never really watched their show. I've always considered them to be more like influencers. I've never thought of them as reality TV stars. And it's so strange because sometimes I'll see them like talking about their show, or like I'll see like a clip here like on YouTube or like now on TikTok of like their show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's true. They have a show. I mean, they are like TV famous, but I kind of forget about that because they are like influencers. And it's odd because if you think about influencers and you think about the Kardashians, really there's no other influencers that are kind of like at the same level that the Kardashians have been able to achieve, whether it's like fame or money. I mean, they're on this whole complete different level. I think being someone like me, I really appreciated the Kardashians because the beauty standard completely changed, and that was because of them. And that's something that's so powerful. I mean, literally changing beauty standards is something that you can't just do. It's not something that's simple to do, but somehow they were able to do it. So I feel like they are powerful. And for someone like me, I mean, I grew up thinking that my butt was literally the worst part of my body. I would pray for it to just get smaller. And it's so crazy to think about that nowadays. But when I grew up in the 90s, the standard of beauty was to be like so thin and maybe have like these really big boobs that were obviously like fake boobs. Also, the standard was to be like blonde, blue-eyed. So for me, I was literally like, oh my gosh, I will never be able to achieve beauty because like I just didn't look nothing like what was portrayed in the media as beautiful. So with the Kardashians coming around, I feel like the beauty standard just kind of opened up a little bit, where it was like, yes, it's beautiful if you're thin, if you're blonde, if you're blue-eyed, that's beautiful, but it's also beautiful if you're curvy, if your hair is darker, if your eyes are darker, you know, we can all be beautiful. So to me, that was something that really helped my confidence. I've talked about this before, where I really think that the Kardashians helped with that a lot. And I always just kind of feel, I don't know if grateful is the word, but I just feel, I guess, happy that they came around. I know that it wasn't only Kim. Like, I know we had like J-Lo before Kim came around, but I feel really grateful that that was something that happened because I felt how it helped with my self-esteem. I know, like me, there's so many other people. And I think something that's not really discussed a lot is how this standard of beauty, where it's like, you know, just like being a little bit curvier, it's a lot easier to achieve than the last standard, which was like just being like super thin. I feel like honestly, we shouldn't have a standard of beauty. We shouldn't feel like we have to be like either curvy or skinny or anyway. We should just feel comfortable for who we are. Yes, I think that should happen, but it's just not reality. And I think for a lot of women, it really helped them just be okay with having curves. So that's something I definitely find as a positive for the Kardashians. However, there is a lot of plastic surgery involved. And I do wish they would own up to that plastic surgery, because it doesn't help anyone when they're saying like, oh yeah, we work hard for our bodies and that's how we've made our bodies this way, because that's just not true. Everyone's aware that they've gone in their knife, that they've had plastic surgery. We're all aware of it. Stop lying to everyone. Stop lying to yourself. Just acknowledge it. That will be so much more helpful. And you know, there's people who do have that body type without surgery, and then there's people who achieve that body type through surgery, and I think those are both okay. Whatever makes you happy, as long as you don't feel like you have to look a certain way just because you're being told to do something. Where I feel like it gets really dangerous is when they're telling people like, oh, I look this way because I work out, and then maybe you'll work out and you won't get the same results, and then you'll get really depressed because they're not being honest with you, you know? They're just telling you something that's literally impossible. You will never have that same exact body through just working out. It's just not possible. And I hope more people are aware of that. So I do see like the negatives of that body standard where, you know, there is plastic surgery involved, but I feel like it's almost like two extremes, where before, when I was growing up, you had to be like so thin where literally you could not have like a single curve on your body, or like super curvy where like the curves aren't like really that natural. And for me, my body, it's more similar to like a curvy body. It's more similar to like smaller waist, thicker hips. That's just the way I'm built. So that's why obviously for me, I was happy that they introduced this new form of beauty where it was like, well, you can be beautiful if you're super thin, or you can be beautiful if you're curvy as well. And honestly, I don't know if that would have happened without them putting like some work behind it. I don't know if Kim would have just been like, oh, hi, I'm just like here, just showing up, doing nothing, if that would have been possible, you know, for that new standard of beauty to have been like introduced. And even fashion trends where they would focus more on like showing off the waist and stuff like that. I don't know if that would have happened if work wasn't put behind it. And I mean, I think about Kris, and Kris literally started off being a flight attendant and she turned her children into billionaires. So I'm like, Kris Jenner works literally harder than the devil. Now, Kylie and Kendall, I mean, honestly, who knows? I feel like the way they were raised is so different from the way that the original three Kardashians, or I guess the Kardashians were raised instead of the Jenners, that they're just, I mean, that would be a whole different video. But here goes my unpopular opinion, and you guys might hate me, but hear me out. I feel like Kim Kardashian does work hard. I know you guys, oh my gosh. I mean, listen, yes, she does have nannies, she does have housekeepers, I'm sure she has a whole staff. I mean, I'm sure she has people working for her that we don't even think about, like someone to like wax her nails. I don't know like if that's something that you do, but I'm sure she has someone for that. But I disagree that that means that she doesn't work hard. And I think with her comment and the way she said her comment, honestly, I completely disagree with it. I think it was completely wrong. I don't think she should have said anything. But the one thing I saw people saying the most was, Kim, what are you saying? How dare you talk about this? You're so privileged. You were literally born into a life of privilege, which she was. I mean, she was born in LA, lived in Beverly Hills. So literally the richest part of one of the richest city in the richest country in the entire world. I mean, that is the definition of privilege. She was pretty much given everything her entire life. I'm sure she was literally raised having nannies and having drivers and having all these things that you and me could probably never even like dream about. So she probably doesn't even think about those things. She's just like, oh, okay, like that's normal. Doesn't like everyone have that? But something that really bothered me was that the nannies were the very first thing that was always being brought up. Like, oh, Kim, you have nannies. And I couldn't help but wonder if Kim was a man, if this was Kanye, if the nannies would have been the very first thing that was brought up. I felt like people were almost saying like, well, your only job is to raise these children, therefore whatever else you do is not really hard work. And I don't know how I feel about that part. I mean, you guys comment on how you feel about it, because I feel like raising kids is so hard. I cannot. I mean, raising kids is just literally the hardest job ever. But does that mean that everything else that Kim does isn't hard work? Does that mean that because she's not with her children 24/7 and she has help, she's not doing anything else that's valuable and she's not working hard to like provide for them or to have a good life for them? That's where I'm like, ugh. I mean, I can definitely see where people will be like, well, all she does is like get dressed up and take pictures and nobody really sees like the work that goes behind that. Because I've had that, you know, where people are like, well, doing a dumb YouTube video is like so easy, anyone can do it. And I'm not even gonna get into that because that's a whole conversation. And there's just people who are, you know, ignorant because it's a lot of work. There's a lot of work that goes into every job. It's like saying an artist isn't really working just because you see something and you think it's just so simple to do. You're just like, well, they're just mixing colors together. But really, they are working hard. And for Kim in particular, I feel like she could have settled. She could have just had a job cleaning closets. She could have just married someone with money. She could have probably just lived off the money that her parents left for her. But instead, she chose to do a lot more. And, you know, you could be like, well, but the things she's doing, they're like bad things, you know, like all she's doing is like selling makeup or selling underwear or whatever, you know, you could say those things. You could say like they're superficial or like they're bad for girls or for women, which I don't agree with that. But I mean, I could see that argument. But then I think about why would she bother with like going to law school, right? I mean, that's something that she doesn't have to do. I mean, she's literally a billionaire. Why would she want to go to law school? Why would she need to do that? Going to law school is a lot of work. And I realize that she's not doing it like in the hardest way possible. I realize that she's not like actually attending law school. She's doing like an internship, but she still has to take the bar exam. I mean, I personally don't feel capable of doing an internship and then taking the bar exam because it's a lot of work. And I feel like I can't possibly do that on top of everything I'm doing right now. And I have help. I mean, Gordo helps me a lot. Grandma helps me a lot. And I'm sure Kim Kardashian has so much more help. But even if she had all the help in the world where she didn't have to do anything, let's say all she did was like hang out with her kids every once in a while and study for law school, I feel like that's still hard work. I think my point is this. Many people are born with the privilege that Kim Kardashian was born. There's many people that are rich Beverly Hills brats, that have rich parents, that are lawyers. There's even many people that end up being somewhat famous because they have a brief moment of fame with some tape somewhere. But not many of those end up having the success that the Kardashians ended up having. So personally, I feel like, yes, there's so many factors, privilege, of course, being one of them, but I do think that there's also hard work. Now, being honest with you guys, I think Kim and Kris are incredibly smart women, and I think they're surrounded by a really good team, and I think they knew exactly what they were doing. I think they were like, we're gonna get people upset about this, we are gonna get them talking, and that's exactly what they want. I mean, they have a show that's releasing in a few weeks. They want us all to watch that show. They want us all talking about the Kardashians. This is literally a PR move. I saw that she posted a picture with Pete, because you guys know everything that's going on with Pete, and if you guys don't know, I mean, that's a whole, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, that's not even a whole video, that's like a whole series just to explain the Kim, Pete, Kanye drama. But she posted her very first picture with Pete Davidson where they went Instagram official like a day after she made this comment where people were really upset at her and they were just telling her how out of touch she is with reality by saying that people don't work, which I agree with. And a lot of people were saying that she posted that picture to deflect. And I don't know, honestly, I disagree. I don't think she posted that picture to deflect from telling women to go and work. I think that picture was a PR move, just like her comment telling people to go out there and work because nobody wants to work. At the end of the day, honestly, everything with them is a PR move. And will I be watching their show on Hulu? I mean, probably not, only because I know the show is also gonna be on Disney Plus, and I'm still really upset that they're gonna have the Kardashians on Disney Plus, and they wouldn't do a Lizzie McGuire sequel because it was too mature. Like, what? Excuse me, Disney? Honestly, I could do a whole rant about that. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts on this. Don't be too mean to me, please. We can agree to disagree. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!